The birth of the United States was a tumultuous time. After declaring independence from Great Britain, the 13 colonies faced a daunting task. They needed to create a new government. This was no easy feat. The colonies were deeply divided on how this new government should function. Two opposing ideologies emerged: federalism and anti-federalism. This clash of ideas shaped the very foundation of the United States. It was a passionate debate about power, liberty, and the best way to govern a nation. The outcome of this debate would determine the future of the newly formed republic. The debate over federalism and anti-federalism was not merely an academic exercise, it was a struggle for the soul of the nation. It was a question of how much power the central government should have and how much freedom should be reserved for the states. The outcome of this debate would have a profound impact on the lives of every American citizen. At its core, federalism advocated for a strong central government, one that could unify the states and provide a cohesive direction for the nation. Federalists believed that a unified nation, under a capable national government, was essential for the survival and prosperity of the newly formed republic. They argued that only a strong central authority could effectively manage the diverse interests of the various states and ensure stability. They argued that a weak central government, like the one under the Articles of Confederation, would lead to chaos and instability. The Articles had left the nation vulnerable to internal conflicts and external threats, demonstrating the need for a more robust federal structure. Anti-Federalists, on the other hand, favored a more decentralized system. They believed that the best way to protect individual freedoms was to keep government power as close to the people as possible. They were wary of granting too much power to the central government. Figures like Thomas Jefferson and Patrick Henry voiced concerns that a strong national government could become oppressive. They feared that a powerful national government would inevitably become tyrannical, much like the British monarchy they had just fought to overthrow. The memory of their struggle for independence was still fresh, and they did not want to replace one form of tyranny with another. They believed that power should be vested in the states, closer to the people. This way, government would be more responsive and accountable to the needs and rights of its citizens. The debate between Federalists and Anti-Federalists was not simply about the size and scope of government, it was a profound and fundamental disagreement about the nature of power and the best way to safeguard liberty. It was a fundamental disagreement about the nature of power and the best way to safeguard liberty. The Federalists believed that a strong national government was not a threat to liberty, but rather a necessary condition for its preservation. The Federalists believed that a strong national government was not a threat to liberty, but rather a necessary condition for its preservation. They argued that a well-structured government with checks and balances could effectively protect individual rights. They argued that a well-structured government with checks and balances could effectively protect individual rights. This system would prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful and ensure that the government remained accountable to the people. The Anti-Federalists, however, remained unconvinced. They believed that true liberty could only be secured by limiting the power of the central government. They believed that true liberty could only be secured by limiting the power of the central government. They saw the states as the best protectors of individual rights and feared that a powerful national government would inevitably erode those rights. They saw the states as the best protectors of individual rights and feared that a powerful national government would inevitably erode those rights. This ideological clash between Federalists and Anti-Federalists laid the foundation for the dynamic and often contentious political landscape of the United States. The ideological clash between Federalists and Anti-Federalists was deeply rooted in the historical context of the time, a period marked by intense political and social upheaval. The colonists had just emerged victorious from a long and bloody war against Great Britain, a war that had tested their resolve and unity. This experience had a profound impact on their worldview, instilling in them a deep sense of independence and self-determination. It shaped their understanding of government and liberty, making them wary of any form of centralized control that could threaten their newfound freedoms. The colonists had fought against what they perceived as the tyranny of the British monarchy, a distant power that imposed its will without regard for their rights. They had chafed under the rule of a distant and unresponsive government, one that seemed more interested in its own power than in the welfare of its subjects. This experience made them deeply suspicious of centralized power, fearing that it could easily become oppressive and overbearing. They feared that a strong national government would inevitably become oppressive, just like the British government had been, infringing on their hard-won liberties. The Articles of Confederation, the first governing document of the United States, reflected this fear of centralized power, creating a loose confederation of sovereign states. It created a weak central government with limited authority, unable to impose its will on the states. The states retained considerable autonomy under the Articles, each acting almost as an independent nation. However, this decentralized system proved to be ineffective, unable to address the collective needs of the new nation. The central government was too weak to address the challenges facing the new nation, from economic instability to external threats. The economic and political instability of the period following the Revolutionary War convinced many that a stronger national government was necessary to ensure the survival and prosperity of the United States. They argued that a more unified government could better regulate trade, provide for the common defense, and address the issues that were dividing the states, creating a more cohesive and resilient nation. This led to calls for a revision of the Articles of Confederation and the convening of the Constitutional Convention of 1787, a pivotal moment in American history. The Federalists, led by influential figures like Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay, were the primary advocates for a stronger national government. They were deeply concerned about the future of the fledgling nation. They believed that a more unified nation was essential for the survival and prosperity of the Republic. Without a strong central authority, they feared the country would fall apart. They argued that a weak central government, like the one under the Articles of Confederation, would lead to chaos and instability. The Articles had created a loose confederation of states with a very limited central government. The Federalists pointed to the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation as evidence for the need for a stronger central government. They highlighted the inability to enforce laws and the lack of a unified direction. They argued that the lack of a national currency, the inability to regulate interstate commerce, and the economic disarray that followed, and the weakness of the national government in foreign affairs were all symptoms of a flawed system. They believed that without a strong central government, the nation could not effectively negotiate or defend itself on the international stage. They believed that a more unified government was necessary to overcome these challenges. A strong central authority would provide the leadership and stability needed. The Federalists argued that a strong national government could better provide for the common defense. They emphasized the importance of a unified military force. They pointed out that under the Articles of Confederation, the national government had no standing army and was dependent on the states for military support. This fragmented approach made coordinated defense efforts nearly impossible. This made the nation vulnerable to attack. The Federalists believed that a national government with the power to raise and support an army was essential for the security of the nation. They believed that a national government with the power to raise and support an army was essential for the security of the nation. A unified military force would deter potential aggressors and protect the nation's interests. Furthermore, the Federalists argued that a strong national government could better regulate commerce and promote economic growth. They saw economic stability as a cornerstone of a prosperous nation. They pointed to the economic chaos of the period under the Articles of Confederation, with states imposing tariffs on each other and engaging in trade wars, and printing their own currency, leading to rampant inflation and economic instability, as evidence of the need for a more unified economic system. They believed that a national government with the power to regulate interstate commerce and coin money could create a more stable and prosperous economy. A unified economic policy would